We're 2 weeks through the season, and we're starting to see some players cement themselves as potential Heisman Trophy candidates. Though it's still very early in the season, here's my top 10 list for the Heisman Trophy race after the second week of the college football season. Before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to the channel. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know who your Heisman picks are. It helps the algorithm of the video and helps share it with more college football fans. Plus, I love to see who you guys have in your rankings. If there are any other college football videos you'd like to see, drop a comment down below and it very well can turn into my next video. Before I get to my top 10, just know that these aren't the top 10 players currently based on odds. There are currently players in the top 10 that have better odds, but you won't find them on my list. Kicking off today's rankings at number 10 is Liberty quarterback Malik Willis. Entering the season, I talked about Willis being a potential Heisman sleeper, and he's been great to start the season. This weekend, on the road in a victory over Troy, Willis completed 13 of 18 passes for 150 yards and 2 passing touchdowns, while also rushing for nearly 100 yards with a rushing touchdown. Liberty is on the verge of being a top 25 team, and he's the best player on that squad. Through the first 2 weeks, he's completing 69% of his passes for 400 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, while also having 150 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. His numbers haven't been fantastic quite yet, but I know he's on the verge of one of those 5 touchdown, 400-yard performances. Number 9 goes to Chris Rodriguez, running back for Kentucky. He's been, in my opinion, the second best running back so far this season. Against Missouri, he rushed for 200 yards, while averaging nearly 8 yards a carry with 3 rushing touchdowns. He also added a receiving touchdown as well. This is after an opening week performance in which he rushed for 125 yards and a touchdown. Kentucky has a surprisingly good offense this year, and Rodriguez very well could finish with some of the best numbers among running backs in 2021. Number 8 goes to one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country over the last few years, Nevada quarterback Carson Strong. He completed 79% of his passes for just under 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns this weekend. Last weekend against Cal, he threw for over 300 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. Over his last 11 games dating back to last season, Strong has thrown for 3,600 yards with 33 passing touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. It's going to be a tough case for Strong to make a Heisman push since he's at a Group of 5 program. But if he continues to stay at the top of the leaderboard for passing yards and passing touchdowns, and Nevada continues to win, he very well can be a candidate. Number 7 goes to Ohio State quarterback CJ Stoudt. Had he beaten Oregon this past week, he'd likely be number 2 on my list. Stoudt has put up some really good numbers through his first 2 starts, but he made too many costly mistakes against the Ducks that ultimately cost Ohio State the game. Still, he threw for 500 yards with 3 passing touchdowns. Through the first 2 weeks, Stoudt has thrown for 800 yards with 7 touchdown passes. He very well can break some single-season Ohio State records in 2021, but he'll just need to get the Buckeyes back on track to help build his case. Number 6 goes to another player who is at a brand new school, this one being SMU quarterback Tanner Mordecai. Against North Texas, he threw for over 300 yards with 4 passing touchdowns while adding 30 yards on the ground. Through his first 2 games, SMU is 2-0, and Mordecai has been nearly the entire offense. He's completed 71% of his passes and has thrown for 630 yards with 11 passing touchdowns. Again, it's only 2 weeks, but he's on a full season pace for 66 passing touchdowns. I know he's likely not going to reach that mark, but Mordecai is definitely a name to keep an eye on in regards to the season leader for touchdown passes and passing yards. Before we get to the top 5, if you could take a second to give this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm posting college football videos every day, so it helps share these videos with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Number 5 on the list goes to Spencer Rattler, who had a very nice bounce back game after a scare in week 1. He completed 77% of his passes for 250 yards with 5 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Through his first 2 games, he's thrown for nearly 600 yards with 6 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. As long as Oklahoma continues to win games and Rattler continues to put up solid numbers, he'll be hanging around the Heisman discussion all season long. At number 4, we have Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ritter, who's also going to be hanging around the Heisman conversation as long as Cincinnati continues to win games. He threw for 250 yards with 2 passing touchdowns against Murray State. On the season, Ritter's completing 72% of his passes for just under 600 yards with 6 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Ritter has a big game this weekend on the road at Indiana. If he's able to put up great numbers and leave with the victory, he'll likely be higher on my list next week. Number 3 goes to Oregon running back CJ Verdell, whose performance against Ohio State has him all the way up at number 3. He rushed for 160 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns while adding 3 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown through the air. The running backs who entered the season with the best Heisman odds have been pretty bad to start the season, so it looks like at the moment, Verdell has the best shot of a non-quarterback to win. Plus, it's not just me who's high on CJ Verdell. According to FanDuel, he currently has the 5th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy. Plus, it certainly helps his case that he's already had his Heisman moment with this performance. Number 2 on my list goes to Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral, who also has a chance to lead the country in passing yards and passing touchdowns. He threw for nearly 300 yards with 5 passing touchdowns this weekend. On the season, he's thrown for just under 700 yards and has 6 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's also rushed for 100 yards and has a rushing touchdown as well. Ole Miss is going to be a fun team to follow this season, and Matt Corral will be one of the most exciting players to follow in the country as well. I said this last week and I'm going to say it again, but the Heisman Trophy is Bryce Young's to lose. He's currently the betting favorite at plus 300. Although Matt Corral isn't too far behind at plus 400, it's just tough to see a player overtaking him without Young struggling. Against powerhouse Mercer this weekend, Young threw for 230 yards with 3 touchdowns. On the season, he's completing 71% of his passes for just under 600 yards with 7 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Alabama is likely going to go undefeated the rest of the way, and Young will likely continue to put up incredible numbers the rest of the season. Until Bryce Young has an awful game and Alabama loses a game or even struggles to win a game, he'll continue to be number 1 on my list. Well, those are my 10 current picks for the Heisman Trophy after week 2. Was there a player I didn't mention on my top 10 list that you feel should have been on it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I'm posting college football videos every day, so if you're a college football fan, then this is definitely the place for you. If there are any other college football videos you'd like to see a video on, drop a comment down below, and that could be the next video I make. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.